Yeah. Yeah. Well, what happens to those 80-20? What happens to those 80%ers? Well, a few things happens. Today, mostly when you give up and roll up and curl into a little ball, or you go back into your protein sack, yeah, they go extinct. They don't adapt. But you know what men have done over the course of countless millennia, since we were running around in hunter-gatherer tribes on the sub-Saharan African plains? They were adapting. Yes, we've changed things up. The pill has changed things dramatically in humanity. The advent of hormonal birth control has been more radical, more radical a change to human society across the globe than any other invention up to now. And maybe the internet is now finally like sort of allowing us to understand the real gravity and impact of that. But I'll dig into that here in just a second. But yeah, I mean, what do the 80%ers do? Well, historically, Stardust, what they have done is adapt. That's what they've done. You want to know why we have art, why we have literature, why we have the great cathedrals in Notre Dame, why we have the Taj Mahal, why we have architecture, why we have fucking dishwashers, why we have the Audubon, why we have, name it. The 8 wonders of the world, the Hanging Gardens of Baghdad, or wherever that is, you know, the pyramids of Egypt, all that creativity, all that stuff. It's because guys who are beta males trying to find an end run around not being an alpha. How can I put myself into the best position where I can solve my reproductive problem? That's like saying, well, you know, our 80%, 80-20, 80-20 rule. It's not like it just magically appeared 5 years ago when the red pill jumped up into popularity, because, you know, started trending on Google. 80-20 has been a hypergamy. That's been part of human existence forever. Men's innate desire for unlimited access to unlimited sexuality. Let's go talk to like Genghis Khan and his descendants about that. We can talk about that. We can go all the way back in history and figure that out. Now, maybe you could say, well, Genghis was an alpha. Yeah, probably was. But everybody looking up to him and trying to emulate him or trying to find some way to be the one selected, either they had to do it by hook or by crook. They had to figure out how to make a nice, shiny nest. They had to be better at building homes. They had to be better at playing music. There's a theory, and I don't necessarily, I don't have, again, this is not a law. There's a theory that all art, all really any leisure, anything that men have done, culture, art, music, technology, are all in some way related to men trying to solve their reproductive problem because of exactly what you're talking about. So why in 2021, 21st year of the 21st century, why do we think all bets are off now? Why do we want to curl up into a ball and go back to our protein sacks and go back to our escapes and go jerk off to porn? I mean, it's easy to do. Well, I can tell you why, because it's easier to be sedated than to actually be creative enough to deal with that discontent creatively. We're dealing with it destructively. And history is riddled with men who have created as a result of trying to defeat exactly this gloom and doom, you know, extreme binary view of the world. I get thrown so much shit at me whenever I talk about, like, you know, the ancients of old, right? The wisdom of the ancients, St. Thomas Aquinas, you know, Aristotle, you know, these guys knew all this stuff before you, Rollo. You're just regurgitating their, you know, what is it? I'm trying to think of the guy. The Stoics, right? Those guys knew better than you, right? The Caesars, you know, they knew. The religious guys knew. The guys in Eastern Asia, you know, the Buddha, they knew all this stuff. Krishna knew about women's nature. Who do you think you are? But yet, so I'm supposed to not know any of this bullshit. But then when I throw this out there, well, it's gloom and doom. You know, the real red pill was, you know, Ovid, or, you know, like I said, the wisdom of old, the ancients of old. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm not saying they didn't have something to contribute to the, global hive intelligence of what the human race has become. Sure. But we live in the information age right now. And it's like this generation, well, at least the last two generations, somehow forgot all that. They somehow forgot like, all the technology and all the human achievements. I'm trying to think, the crowning achievements of humanity. It wasn't just alpha men that did that. You know that, right? It's regular dudes. How long did it take to put, and I hate to say this, but how long did it take to like build Notre Dame? How long did it take to build, like there was, I forget where I was reading this, but like you look at some of the old ancient like Gothic cathedrals that were built, most of those, hell, the Medici started, was it the Duomo? I want to say that, or St. Peter's Cathedral, for which cathedral it was. But in the 1400s, most of the people who worked on that, they died without ever seeing that come to fruition. They never saw the dome put on there. Hell, I don't even think forget the architect. He was a famous architect. He was one of the masters, wasn't he? Worked with Botticelli. Putting the dome, they never saw that. Cosimo Medici, I don't believe he had, well, maybe it was his father, but certainly his father never saw the Duomo completed. And so we build and we grow, and I don't care what aspect of humanity it is. If everybody said, "Oh, well, screw it, I guess I'm out of luck. I guess I'm going to curl up into a little ball and die. I'm never going to get laid." Oh, well, women like money, women like status, women like, I don't know, that physique. Women like this. There's the history of humanity. That's why I keep saying, the sex is more important than just like, how do I get laid? I'm a pickup artist. That's way more. The red pill's way more than that. I can point to every technological advance, particularly in media, has been used to get off. Seriously, when we started learning like perspective, and we started painting, like Leonardo da Vinci starts painting like the Madonna with a boob hanging out. Yeah. Oh, look, it's the Madonna and child. Yeah, look, tits. Or even the Venus. Even without the arms. All right. That every advancement in art and in media. What was the first thing they did? Like when they had photography, first photography was, well, let's take a picture of a train. Oh, and now let's put a sexy ass bitch beside that train. When we got video, when we finally got movies, I think the first movies were like, so like seeing if a horse actually came off the ground when it was running, and then, oh, look, let's see if we can get Jim and Jane when they're banging, and we'll put stag films, right? We paint hot babes on the nose cones of bombers in World War II. And we got Hugh Hefner magazine, Penthouse, Hustler, Hardcore, put it on film, put it in, dirty movie houses, dirty movie theaters, X-rated movie theaters in the 70s. And then you move it up to video, VHS or beta. I don't think a lot of people know this. I think I read somewhere, maybe, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that VHS actually won out over beta because VHS got standardized by the porn industry. And so then you got that. Then you got like Spice Channel and Playboy Channel on cable TV. And I can remember a time when like a lot of the revenue generated by like the Marriott and the Hilton and the Hyatts of the world, they made all kinds of money because you could watch porn channels if you paid for the service as part of your hotel room or something. And that was a big deal. I was making a lot of money off of that. And then, of course, the internet came up. And what do we use it for now? For porn. So how do we solve our reproductive problem, either virtually or realistically? You can crawl up into a little ball and die, or you can do something about it. That's what I mean. Creative discontent versus destructive discontent.